Sorry about that. Can everybody hear me? Hopefully, good. Okay, so happy first day of fall, everybody. I did email my meeting report to everybody who's part of the meeting. I also have physical copies in there. Thank you. So just to get started on Facebook, as of Friday, we had 3,996 followers, but as of today, we now have 4,000, broke the 4,000 mark. And 54% of those 4,000 are women and 45% are men, ages 34 to 54. So those are the age ranges. And then you can see some of our successful posts from the last month. So Beers, Tears, and Beers did really well, and then we had a new article come out, which was Jake and Kate's restaurant, which I'll get to that later, and we'll talk in more detail about it. Instagram, we're up 38 with 2,058 followers, and on Twitter, we're up 3 with 317 followers. Moving on to our targeted digital ads and our display targeting, our search retargeting, which is keywords and search engines, and it displays an ad at the top. That had 183,800 impressions and 129 clicks. And then our search engine marketing, which is specifically Google AdWords, when you Google search, and you get a display ad that had 9,758 impressions, 514 clicks, and 117 leads. And our site retargeting, which redirects people to like a website, on our website gives them a display ad, is 84,500 impressions and 82 clicks. Then our targeted YouTube ad had 38,700 impressions and 17,500 views. Facebook retargeting had 30,000 impressions and 487 clicks. Moving on to the website, our top pages were the homepage, lodging, Beers, Tears, and Beers. As a featured event was number 3, which is surprising that obviously it's coming up. And then dining and things to do. Our average session duration was up 47%, or we averaged out at a minute 45 seconds. Our bounce rate was down 16% at 16.14%. And we had, of our returning visitors and new visitors, 81% of them were new and 19% were returning. We did have a new article come out, and that was Jake and Kate of Kerouac's Restaurant. That was the first article I've written that I wrote myself, and that went out on the website this month. Looking into the future of new articles that will come out, I talked to Kyle, so we're looking forward to a new article about the opening of the disc golf course. So hopefully that will be out soon. And then just recently I talked to Kyle about doing kind of an article on the ghost towns that we have, like a ghost town loop around Illapel and Hamilton and Treasure City and all of that. So I'll be working with High Desert Trailblazers and talking to them about our trails, and Sean Pitts about those historical places. So we'll have an article about that coming out soon. Along with some media content that we'll be looking forward to is Jenny Wilden did come out in the past month, who has a blog and edits. And so that's just some media content that will be coming out in the future that we'll be looking forward to sharing. One of the other updates, and you would have gotten the mailer version of this, hopefully, is our cheat sheet and our physical copies of that in the room. Anyone wants to pick those up. We're looking forward to handing out 150 of these for Beers, Tears, and Beers to give away to people, so people know where to go. It has a list of our attractions and restaurants of what we offer at what time. And then we also, per our last meeting, we had printed out versions of our top 15 brochure, but since then we actually have received them. So here it is. I also have physical copies of those in the boardroom. But yeah, there it is. We're very happy with it. And we've already kind of started like putting this out to people. Holiday Inn yesterday asked for a whole bunch of brochures and gave them our new top 15 ones, so those will be going out there. And other than that, there's just the calendar, which again, we're just updating with new events and trying to make sure that we have the COVID conscious guidelines to meet all of those requirements, and hopefully we don't get in trouble there. And that's my meeting report, if anyone has any questions.
Thank you very much, Errol. I do have a question, and this is just for memory lane. prior to your arrival, Kyle, did we have any targeted YouTube ads?
We had just started the YouTube campaign. You weren't doing anything beforehand. This was something that we started doing once I had gotten here. So we've gone through a summer and a winter and a summer, and we've had 3 different videos that we've done for the seasons. And so that having like a 50% view rate is pretty outstanding. So what I was going to bring up after October, so after Bike Magazine comes out, October does well, we've got all these ads out, and we've got to wrangle some things back just to be budget conscious. I'm going to kind of condense that reach local. So, when it's all said and done, Errol will be reporting on 3 different campaigns through reach local as opposed to the 5 that we currently have out. But the one thing that we won't eliminate is the YouTube ad, just because it's been so successful.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's phenomenal, I think. And then in your report, if you can talk about the upcoming Travel Nevada grant, and what Sherry told me is social media will be included in it. It's been amazing with these numbers, and obviously it's great content, at least for my little brain. It is great content, but great content gives you good impressions and clicks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so thank you on that. Good job. Thank you, Errol. Any questions or comments on Errol's report? Alrighty, we'll move on with you.
All right, I will go ahead and tie up the loose ends here. So the first thing that I want to address in my director's report is the Broadbent Park Survey, and that should have been number 9 in your guys' packet. This is something that we've been talking about for a couple board meetings now. I've been working with Caroline and Jim Allworth in trying to create a community survey that we can send out that will get an appetite from the community about what they want to see in Broadbent Park. I think in the meantime, there's been a super park proposal, that has a little bit of everything in it, and that doesn't take away from the fact that the master plan is to have these 3 park areas, which would include Broadbent, the park out at Love's, and then the train yard as trailheads, hubs for recreation, and off-highway transportation opportunities for people to move throughout the community. So it's still a good idea, but it gives us an opportunity to really kind of reach out to the community and see what they're looking for. So you can see, I won't go through each one of these questions, but what I'm asking of the board is, before I go ahead and put this into a digital form or a more well-formatted print form that we can take around to the community, is there anything that we want to add? And you don't have to tell me right now, but we can certainly make suggestions in person or email or anything like that. I saw the hand go up in the audience. George, did you have a suggestion?
You mentioned Love's. Is that what they call the Heritage Park?
Yes.
I'm against that. I don't want you people taking prime commercial property off the tax rolls.
I'm not doing anything.
We've got sufficient parks. We'll enhance those, but Heritage Park needs to go away. Do not take commercial property that's prime off the tax rolls.
I will pass
It's
that
going
on
to get
the
louder,
county.
I'm telling you right now.
It's the county.
Thank you.
I will pass that on to the appropriate people. Thank you, George.
And don't spend a dime from the Fair and Rec Board on that, period.
Okay.
Would you be able to summarize what he said?
Don't spend a dime on Heritage Park. He's not for it because it takes prime commercial property
Off the tax rolls.
off the tax rolls. So you've got some affirmative nods, definitely.
Yeah, that definitely a county issue, not a tournament.
Right.
Don't
But
spend
I'm
any
happy
money.
to work with the city on engaging the community and seeing what they would like out of their park. So again, just take a look at this. I'll probably let it go for about another week to see if there's any suggestions that come in, and if nothing comes in, I'll start working on putting this up on SurveyMonkey.
Would you be able to email this to the board members and anyone, just to get more input? And maybe Wayne could talk to his directors about it. And if you could watermark it with draft.
Okay, I will do that.
It'd be good to have the chamber input.
I want everybody's input. I mean, the purpose of doing these surveys is, it gives everybody a chance to express their opinion, and be part of the process. So,
Right,
I'm all for it. This is the way communities build community, is by not steamrolling things down everybody's throat. Okay, so I'll go through the rest of my updates. So the parking lot, if you guys have driven past, it is almost complete. Essentially, we're looking for the sculpture that we had talked about to go ahead and be installed. It was damaged in shipping, so it's going back and getting fixed. But you can see the lights are on, the power's turned on, the irrigation to the trees is on, the crosswalks have been painted going from the parking area to the convention center. The light to address that was on city property, and the city engineer signed off on that before we added that stylized stoplight, or not stoplight, but street light in replace of something that was broken down and never even worked in the first place. So the landscaping looks good. I think it looks amazing. I can't wait to take pictures of it, and put it in the facilities guide. So there will be one more payment that we'll have to make on that one once everything is complete, but that'll be a project that we can put to bed. Race the Rails recap, we had 80 riders, so it was actually the biggest, most well participated in Race the Rails, and we did cut it off per our safety requirements that was approved prior to the race. So temperatures, hand sanitizer, and masks, everybody did their part, and we had a great ride, and everybody was just really appreciative that we did not cancel and that we were able to provide an event for people to come to. So I expect that will be even more successful last year. Got great news, because Nicole's been crunching the numbers on Race the Rails, and this was an event where in the past years we have always lost money as an organization to put this event on, which is normal for the first 3 years. If you're going to do an event, you expect to lose money for 3 years while you build it up. This is the first year that we made money. There's still a couple expenses, minimal expenses, but right now we're showing a $1,700 gain in putting on that event. So that's exceptional for the 4th year, and if we wanted to pass it off to a group to do it, at least we know that we're passing off a successful event. If we wanted to continue to do it, I'm feeling really confident about the logistics now after being the 3rd year that I've been involved in that event. So that's really good. Trails University, we touched on this a little bit last time. This is the standardized trail building curriculum or school that would be based out of Great Basin College. It would be amazing for our branding as an outdoor recreation destination, but it would provide workforce development opportunities for people either displaced or getting into the workforce, that they would get major certifications, not just in trail building, but that would also lead into CDL license and possibly fire crew, Forest Service. And this is a program that would be motorized trail, non-motorized trail, and winter trail as well. Right now we're just trying to find the funding for the match for that. So we've had a couple donors come in, and I think that's, even though it's moving kind of slowly, it would be a huge workforce development program for the community to bring in all these people to help build our trails for us, and then to go out in the west and do it. So that's still moving forward. I just wanted to touch base on that one. Errol mentioned the article on the disc golf course. This was a project that I've been working with the BLM to expand our disc golf course to an 18-hole course and put in professional tee pads and signage to make it tournament quality, and we are actually, after this meeting, going up and installing baskets. So it is getting very, very close, and we've had a great show up of volunteers to come out and move dirt, which is awesome. In the Trail Accelerator grant, the guy is still working on the maps, but we were asked to announce the next round of grant recipients by producing a video, and what they had asked for was students on the NICA team. So I got with Anna and Emma Watt and pretty much recorded this video of them announcing the next round of grant winners, and so they will be on the IMBA social media, representing Ely and showcasing that we're part of this bigger mountain bike community. So it was really cool working with them. And now that the parking lot is done, Terry said that the trail map kiosk that is going in that parking lot across from Sports World, as soon as he gets done with the Ridley's parking lot, that is the next on his queue. So that project of the trail map kiosk getting installed, it's been 6 months in the making, is looking like it's coming closer to finishing. From an event standpoint, this weekend is Fierce Tears and Beers. Fire and Ice is scheduled for January 15th through 17th. The Rotary Ice Fishing Derby is scheduled for January 30th, and the Ely Film Festival is March 12th through 14th. So those are the events right now that the more major ones that are still confirmed on our calendar. And so from a print and design standpoint, and this is the one thing that we kind of have to be cost conscious of as we go into the wintertime, is how much material we're making. We'll end up having to make marketing materials for Fire and Ice and Ice Fishing Derby, and we're working on Film Festival print materials right now. But the facilities guide will be a major expense that we're working on from a print standpoint. The visitor's guide is still on the table, even though we've got some pieces that can fill in for right now. And then there's 2 billboards in the downtown. One of them is the old jailhouse Check for a Check. That's right there in Midtown. And then the other one is right as you're coming out of the canyon on the west side of town. It's right up there on the right-hand side. I've talked with both of those owners and have gotten permission to do something with that space. An artistic welcome to downtown Ely, whatever we want to do. It's kind of it's cool that we've gotten that space at least dedicated now that we can do something with both of those billboards. We get to start brainstorming on what we want that messaging to be. You know, we're certainly not going to promote a business or an event in particular, but I think a welcoming message and then showcasing our assets is probably where we're going to end up going. So that's some of the bigger design and print stuff that we're working on. I just had a fall session meeting with East River PR, and so you know, they just got done sending out the 2 influencers that were out here. Was on the news twice in this last month, so there was kind of all this stuff that we were working on, and it was time to start brainstorming on what's the fall pitch. And so they are going to be putting out this Southern Nevada mountain bike road trip itinerary that I've been working on with Caliente, Tonopah, and Beatty. Went ahead and finished. I sent that off to them. They're going to send it out to all their people. And so doing kind of pushing out a road trip itinerary. They're going to be doing a fall color pitch, and so that would be OHV and like Success Loop related. Where can you see the best fall colors in White Pine County? They're going to be working on a snowmobile road trip itinerary for the wintertime, because that's truly what I'm worried about, man. If we have no snow, well, then there's just nothing we can do about it. If we have snow, that's our hook. And we did get a grant from Travel Nevada 2 sessions ago to create all of that snowmobile and backcountry skiing content. I mean, I've got 100 photos, I've got 2 great videos, and we had no snow last year to do anything with it. So they're going to be working on an itinerary to put that out. That'll include the Ruby Mountains. They're doing a press release on our new mural audio tour, and so that will be getting put out. And we're working on creating an e-blast template, because one of the projects that I've been working on Errol with, now that we've got him writing a little bit more, is starting to work on the e-blast. So they're working with us on coming up with a clean professional template, so we can start putting out e-blasts on a monthly basis. From a grant standpoint, the Nevada OHV Commission just came out with their grant, has just opened up for projects related to OHV. That also includes marketing and things like that. So one of the ideas that I came up with, we were talking about doing an OHV brochure with Jade that incorporated all the maps, very similar to our mountain biking brochure. What I would like to apply for, unless there's a better idea that comes out, is money to go ahead and pay for the completion of that one, since that would be a pretty expensive print piece. It would mimic the Nevada OHV Commission's website and have all of the highlighted rides for our county. Working with the forest managers, put better signage up on those routes. That's still the #1 thing that we get from recreationists out here that say, well, you know, Mesquite's really doing it right, and this other place is really, well, what are they doing? Well, they've got better signage, you know, so getting signage out on the trails. I would want to design kind of a unique and identifiable logo around OHV, kind of similar to what we have for the Ride Ely NV, but it would be an OHV one, and then that would be the branding for the signage out there and any kind of marketing materials, as well as creating itineraries and getting photos and things like that. So it essentially would be an OHV marketing campaign for our featured rides in the county. And so that's kind of what I've come up with that. Other than that, I mean, maybe buying a piece of trail building equipment. That's available, but I think we've already got this fire kind of stoked, and it would be nice to go ahead and finish that. Another grant I applied for, the RTP grant through the state parks, and that is for non-motorized trails. And so it was a pre-application to see if our idea was good enough. It was for planning for a cave lake expansion, and it was approved to move on to the next stage. So I'll be working with Aaron Rahala at the Forest Service to go ahead and get that proposal in. And other than that, I felt like there was one more thing, but maybe there wasn't.
How about the Travel Nevada grant?
Oh, the Travel Nevada grants. So yeah, so it looks like Travel Nevada is going to be opening up their cycle for, like Caroline said, some marketing, some co-ops, things like that. There's going to be slightly different stipulations under it, sounds like from the PET meeting that I was at today, but at least they're starting to funnel some money back into the communities for marketing. So yeah, it probably the timing would actually be just right for revamping that digital campaign that we have, because we'll have all of that new video content from Bike Magazine that they're going to create right about that time. So so kind of exciting, you know. I mean, from these meetings that I've been on, man, I tell you what, it makes my team look like rock stars, because I mean, we are putting out 2 to 3 times the amount of work of any other community right now in the rurals with the amount of content and stuff that we're doing. So I'm stoked on Errol, I'm stoked on Nicole and what we've been doing, and I like the direction that this community's heading right now.
Thank you. Just one note is I understand the fall colors at Great Basin National Park are exquisite right now. So if you had anybody that had photography that could capture that, would be wonderful.
I feel a
Is
fall
there a
color
little bit
campaign
early?
going for the rest of the week. Right, Errol? He's shaking his head.
He nod.
He nodded.
He grinned.
Thank you. So that would be, but you know, they're just a little bit earlier than sometimes the others. They're higher. So anyway, thank you very much. Is there any discussion or comments from the director's reports?
Madam Chairman, it's great to see Errol doing some articles. It's nice to do in-house articles. It also saves us too financially.
Great to build capacity. Yes, thank you very much, Errol, on that. Okay, that was discussion only. We'll move on to Roman numeral 3, old business. Number 1, discussion only, board member reports. Let's start with Kurt. If you can flip the camera around to him or microphone.
Yeah. I have no report, thank you.
That was fast.
Yeah.
How about Ian?
Can you hear me okay?
You're on mute.
You're, unmute yours though, because mine'll feedback.
Oh yeah, can you hear Ian from mine?
Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3, okay. So to answer, I don't have anything else besides this, but to answer Wayne's question, I dropped the ball, Wayne. I was supposed to go and talk with you this week, and I didn't get to it yet, or last week. What we need to clarify, this is actually probably gonna be good for the chamber across the board, is we need to get some clarity on what is the value for the money. So we want to talk about that, and that's probably something we should flesh out on the chamber, putting my chamber hat on for a moment. If we're going to be drumming up chamber memberships, what's the value? What is someone getting when they pay X amount of dollars? And so in our case, it was like a $1,500 membership, so we want to talk about what is the scale benefit to paying that versus what another business pays for $200, and just understanding all of that. I don't think anybody's trying to be weird about it. It's just we're looking at it, and we don't want to just pay for things just because we've always paid for it. Let's be, judicious about what we're doing. So it was just a question came up that no one had the answer to. So I drew the short straw to come and talk to you and find out what the answer to that is. And I'm sure we're happy to pay it. We just need to understand what is the value, as long as the value is there. So that's that.
Thank you, Ian. Marietta, you have a report?
Nothing to report. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. And I would also like to discuss, I contacted Ian as far as the chamber question, because he is the liaison from Turin Rec, and so it made sense for him to be the conduit of the request and to work out whatever it is to get that value proposition and some documentation, rather than just an ongoing documentation of what the Turin Rec has paid in many years. So Ian is very gracious about taking his liaison position, and will certainly be addressing that. So thank you to both Wayne and to Ian for this. Okay, item number 2, discussion only, agenda items for next board meeting. I would propose that the ones that weren't, basically another update on what we already have on here, just pretty much duplicating it if Judy's can hear. Because the 3-year sculpture park, we were not going to have the plan necessarily, but probably the progress would be for the sculpture park, because it'll be October, and get that what's actually, where we are on the progress. And then the museum, let's wait until November for that, Kyle, because you are going to be just so busy in the next 5 weeks. So is that all right with you?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, and then the facilities, we'll have another update on that, as far as that facilities guide and, the input on that. So I appreciate that, and all the financials with those comparisons are really very helpful, and seeing what properties are doing well, and you're probably working with ones that could probably use a little bit of help, and visiting with them, and I would appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So,
Wayne,
any
did
other
you wanna,
ideas?
Wayne's, did you want to add the reallocation from the Beatles?
Yeah, that's what I want to see, to reallocate it from the Beatle concert to the Christmas tree fund.
Yep, so Wayne's asking on the agenda, because I think the board needs to go ahead and approve this, but the money that we allocated for the Beatles, since that concert's not happening, he would like that to be reallocated towards the Christmas decorations and downtown Christmas celebrations. So we'll put that on the agenda for the next one as well.
Yeah, well, we certainly regret that the Beatles band could not come, because it's a great concert the year before, and thank you, Wayne, for that great suggestion on reallocation. So yes, we'll put that on. Any other board members have ideas for agenda items for next month? Alrighty, and apologize for my Zoom challenges, but every document I had was in PDF, and then the code was wrong, and so I had all kinds of technical problems, and so if we can just make sure that we get that link code, not a PDF again, that'd be great, but we'll get through this, so.
Yep.
Thank you. Roman numeral 4, public comment. Is there any public comment in the room?
I think George is coming up.
Thank you. Kyle, any information you get from any engineer regarding that parking lot or any other concerns I bring up, tell them to put them in writing. I'm disappointed in where they're coming from. I was a safety security inspector, and what you guys are allowing to transpire here would never cut it in industry. And I don't believe it'll cut it in private enterprise, let alone a city entity or a county project. So anything that they say, I want it in writing. Madam Chairman, I want to remind you the Nevada Northern Railroad is continuing to get additional grant money from this board in addition to the $240,000 they received from room tax. They're not operating under the Nevada open meeting law, and the citizens of the taxpayer cannot see how that money is spent, and it's very important that we do see where that value is going. Again, they need to be cut off and held accountable. I remind you, Mr. Bassett manages the project.